Good evening, everybody, and welcome back. It's Friday night. That means it's time for the Creative Cranium. I got a terrific panel tonight. We're going to talk about the Great Migration of 2024. Is it for real? But before we do that, let's introduce ourselves to the viewers. I actually know most of the people on this panel, but for those that don't know, why don't we go around and we'll introduce ourselves and also tell us what you're mostly known for. Michael, let's start with you.
My name is Michael Oden. I am the founder of Nine Realms Publishing. I've written a bunch of books at this point. Elysian Fields, The Embrace, SPQR's Bizarre Adventure, and a few others. But yeah, that's who I am.
Hey, welcome, Michael. It's nice to finally meet you.
Pleasure to meet you as well.
Chance, you're up next. I met you through, is it DM Ray? Is that how we know each other?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, perfect. Well, tell us who you are and what you're known for.
Chance Edgerly. I'm the owner of Edge Comics, trying to get some books published. Probably best known for Eye for an Eye that I wrote. Just here trying to spread some word.
Nice, man. Welcome to the show. My next guest needs no introduction. Not only a titan in the indie creator field, but also a podcaster himself. Travis Gibb, tell us who you are, buddy.
I just go on the internet. That's not really podcasting. You have to schedule things and make a plan. I get a decent amount of views, but no.
You do pretty well, man.
Travis Gibb. He is right. I've created tons of things. I am a Ringo nominated creator for Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, but I have books at Scout, Band of Bards, 2 other publishers that I can't announce, all sorts of really cool stuff. So I'm me.
Welcome. Welcome, Travis. Always good to see you. Hey, Chris, man, always good to see you, buddy. Tell us who you are and what you're known for.
Good to see you, too. Thanks for having me. My name's Chris. I am the creator, artist, and pretty much everything at Homebrew Comics, the publisher of Crit, which is a comic based off of a Dungeons & Dragons game that I made for me and my friends. And then I just decided to draw it and turn it into a comic book.
Nice. It's good to see you, brother.
Same. Thanks for having me.
All right, so I got some questions for you guys, man. Let's dive right in. So there's been a lot of buzz this week about, there's always competing social media sites. And as creators, we got to keep an eye on it, right? Because what is the new and upcoming thing? They're calling it the Great Migration because a lot of people are upset with various sites, including Facebook, for a number of different reasons. Artificial intelligence being one of the main complaints. We're going to come back to that. But I guess let's just start off with the basic one. Is anybody leaving Facebook for, say, Kara? Michael, what do you say?
You're going to have people that set up accounts over there. I don't think that you're ever going to have people that fully migrate off. We've seen this happen multiple times in the past, I'd say even 10 years. I remember when Facebook went and did a whole UI change about 10 years ago, and everyone was like, this is dumb, I'm never going to use this platform again, and yet here we are a decade later. I do think that you're going to see people, especially with AI, I think that what you will see is that people will stick around on Facebook for their social networks, but then they'll stop putting out artwork that they don't want to have mined by AI generation. So I could see that, but I don't think you're ever going to have a full on, we're having a mass exodus, we're going to be completely leaving this platform behind. I think that as I said, it's easy, and people very frequently take the path of least resistance. It's already here.
I definitely agree with that. Chance, how about you? Are you leaving Facebook? What's your 2 cents on this?
I think he's got a point. Every time a new social media thing pops up, there's this conversation of everybody jumping on that or leaving Facebook to go to that. But Facebook's so integrated in everything we do. It's pretty well embedded in our lifestyle. I feel like I think people will jump and try to see other things, but they'll probably be right back.
Okay, good answer. Travis, how about you, man? You got a very active social media presence. Are you satisfied with the returns that you're seeing on Facebook, and do you have any plans to switch?
Well, first off, I am, and I'm not kidding, a Facebook influencer. So I get paid to post on Facebook. It's $20, by the way, but it ranges between 11 and 30. On the average, it's 20.
Drinks are on Travis tonight.
I have not done
Absolutely.
anything. I have no idea why I'm an influencer on Facebook. They randomly said, "Do you want to make money for your Facebook posts?" I said yes. But to answer your question, I haven't migrated to TikTok yet. So I've never made it over there. So the odds of me going, I did create an account on Kara just because of it's art focused. I do like that. But again, like Blue Sky, like Mastodon, whether or not I'll log in is the question. And if it's really any good, what we have seen is either Facebook or Twitter will buy it.
That's a great point. Somebody mentioned earlier today that the same company owns all these various branches. So maybe switching doesn't matter. Chris, what do you have to say to this? Have you tried any of the other sites and what do you think of them?
I'm just going to say one thing. Who remembers Threads? You know, that was supposed to be the Twitter killer.
Yeah.
And then Twitter got porn. And, you know, now everyone's back on Twitter. But all jokes aside, the user base on Facebook and Instagram is too much to lose. Now you bring up TikTok again, you've got mainly a younger user base there. And people do have success, but going to Travis's point, you've got influencers on both platforms that make way too much money to drop it. And the majority of people on both those platforms couldn't care less about AI. Okay. You know, you'll get Instagram, your fitness influencers, they don't care about AI. They'll use it all day long. So if a pocket group of people, artists, and, you know, jump off there, it's not really going to hurt, if I'm being real. You know, if we don't post a picture of what we're drawing or what we're eating for a few days, you know, they're not going to care. Okay. It's not going to do anything. And if you've used Kara, it's slow. It updates every single day. It doesn't have a user base worth of talk about, you know? So being real, like Travis said, you know, Blue Sky, all those things, we make an account, we post on it for a few days, and then we miss the interactions that we get on social media. Because realistically, if you look at what social media is, it's instant gratification. You post something, you get likes. You're going to get more likes on Instagram than you are on Kara. Okay. And majority of us are antisocial. Okay. And we like that feeling of being accepted. So when we have 30 likes on a picture, or 300 if you're Travis, and then you go to another platform and you get 5, you know, you're not going to get it. And I pick on Travis just because I do know you from other groups and you do very well. So very humble of you and nice to actually be on a live with you. But yeah, I don't see it going anywhere. I see it. They're too big of tools for other people. And 2 industries that I've worked in, Facebook and Instagram, are just huge. You know, I know an account that gets paid a few $1,000s a month just to post. So you can jump off, but you're going to come back tomorrow.
I think you're probably right. You know, I do want to sort of put the AI questions into this, but I do have one more level that I want to add to this question. So my takeaway here is that none of us in this room are leaving Facebook. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess
they're paying him. He can't say no.
Yeah, but I'm not 100% sure that's the reason why. Because if they said they'd pay you over at Kara, I bet you'd switch. Right?
I mean, are they paying me more than $30?
All right, let me change the framing of the question a little bit. And here's what I mean by this. One of the things about Facebook, look, I'm obviously an older guy. The truth is, I can remember the first social media sites. I was a MySpace user back in the day. I don't know if you younger fellas remember that, but it was like the biggest thing on the planet.
That was high school for me.
Yeah, and man, if you had a band, you had to be on MySpace,
Yep.
right? And that one might have lasted 10, 12 years, and Facebook just ate its lunch. And if you remember what ate its lunch, it wasn't that Facebook was the better site. It was that it appealed to the younger demographic, which at the time was college students. Now, of course, those college students are us. We've grown and we're still using it. So my point is this: are you at all concerned with not reaching the younger demographic? Because first of all, do we agree that the younger people aren't using Facebook? And I guess the second half of the question is, how do you plan to address that? Michael, you tackle that one first.
So this is actually a very fun question for me because this is what I do for my day job. I'm a social media manager for PEO Soldier. So
What's that? For those of us that don't know, what is that?
PEO soldier is Program Executive Office Soldier. They are the branch of the military that handles acquisitions for equipment and everything for the soldier of 2030 is like their whole mission statement. So like when it comes down to social media in particular, you have specific demographics per platform. Like LinkedIn is obviously like a representation of your net worth in terms of business connections. Then you've got Facebook, which is the social media platform for pretty much mid-20s and up, and is the best way to kind of engage with that consumer base for anything. Then Instagram is kind of your middle ground between the younger audience and the older audience. Twitter is just gross, and that's just a crapshoot. And then we don't really deal with TikTok or anything like that due to the nature of what we of like the product that we wrap and everything like that, and the OPSEC that it has to go through. But like, when it comes down to is for us as a creator base, I think with comics in particular, obviously, this started off as a genre that brought in younger people, and those people grew up, and the storylines got more mature and what have you. I do think that there is absolutely a degree of us needing to reach the younger audience, but I think that we're going to be more effective doing that at conventions and everything anyway, in face-to-face engagement due to the lack of attention spans. Otherwise, TikTok would be a more appropriate thing to go for. But Facebook is still just such a strong platform between that and Instagram in terms of its ROI and everything like that, and the fact that the people that are on those platforms actually have the money to spend on product.
I think I buy that, except for one small portion that you mentioned, that there's Facebook users that are mid-20s. I'm not sure, 100% sure about that. Chance, do you agree with what he said, that you still think you can reach younger readers and buyers by using Facebook?
Yeah, I think so. I guess I don't know the whole demographic analytics by any means, but everybody I know who's 15 and older has a Facebook. So
interesting. That's definitely not the case in my house. Travis, what do you got to say about that? Can you reach younger demographic with Facebook?
Well, I mean, my child's 22 and she has a Facebook, but I wonder if it's just so she can interact with me, because I'm old. So I do think that there's a group of those, and I do think that the younger audience that's on Facebook are probably professionals. They probably do it more to connect with family and connected business, because Facebook does a little bit more. It seems a little bit more professional than a Twitter or or Instagram, kind of like in the middle of like a LinkedIn, and it's like the first step. So I think you can, but I mean, Facebook algorithms are so bad, right?
Tell us what you mean by the algorithms are so bad.
Like, I have over 5,000 followers, like meaning I have 5,000 friends and I have like 4,000 something followers, something like that give or take. I don't reach a quarter of that, right? They don't see my post, because it's very easy to get that 5,000, followers, because you just add friends a whole bunch of times and it's a mutual thing, right? Everyone adds each other. It's not like one way, like other platforms. So it's really easy to hit those higher numbers faster, but it doesn't mean you're going to be seen to everybody, which I think is one of the steps. The other thing is, Facebook is very, very good at changing their algorithm all the time. I work very similar to Mike. I work as web design, web marketing. You have to constantly be changing the way you do things. There's a thing called Facebook Pixel that interacts with your website to help you do that. It's really great for advertising. Facebook has changed from, they don't really care about people talking to people, more of people getting better targeted ads.
Right. Hold that thought, because that's the next question. So your thought is that Facebook still for you is reaching the younger demographic?
No, I don't think it is, but I think it can. I don't think it's excluding the younger generation. It's not where I would go, but like, I don't remember if it was Mike or Chance said, they don't have expendable income, so I'm not at a rush to get them either.
It's hard to say. Okay, let's jump over to Chris. Chris, you got a little bit of a younger demographic too, right? The gaming industry is full of younger people. Do you feel that you're reaching them with Facebook?
I don't even really use Facebook, if I'm being real. Like I get most of my stuff off direct or Instagram or Twitter at a very little rate.
When you say direct, do you mean your website?
Direct website, or I do a lot of like events. I'm in the community quite a bit, and I'm blessed with a 14-year-old daughter that loves manga and comic books, and all her friends get into my stuff through that. I've never, since the day I decided to do comics, I got into a Facebook group with comic book creators, and I got out immediately and said it's not for me. Facebook.
I want to know more about that. Why wasn't it for you?
Well, I draw my own books. I went into a Facebook group, and they were just tearing each other apart, and it didn't. You talked about the music industry, and I got signed off of MySpace. So back in the day, music industry was terrible too. You could walk into a room with people that pretend to be your friends, and then they tear you apart. I didn't want to be part of that, so I started posting on Instagram, and I have a closed group on Instagram. I don't have to worry about posting a picture on Facebook and having somebody tear it apart that I've never met, and they probably don't even know how to use a pen. So, no, I mean, you said, I guess, you said we're probably going to go into like paid ads in a minute, but I see Facebook, like you said, as family, friends, stuff like that. I've done the tracking on posts I've put on Facebook before, and they don't really net anything good, if I'm being real.
Yeah, I agree with that too. So thanks for those thoughtful answers. And I want to tie this next question into what Travis and Chris were saying, which is, how do I want to say this correctly? So Facebook started out as kind of a social platform. You're talking to friends, talking to family, but I think we all would agree that it's sort of become a retail platform. If you're on Facebook for 8 seconds, you're going to see an ad. And if you are trying to promote a product, you're also going to see multiple things for you to boost these posts. So my question is, let me ask it like this. Michael, I'll start with you. Does Facebook becoming more of a retail platform, does it help you or hurt you with your marketing?
I mean, so the answer is that it does both. Like what it comes down to is you have different types of advertising on Facebook. You have organic and then you have paid, right? So if all you're trying to do is organic advertising, you're not going to get anything really out of Facebook. That's just the reality of it. Like you could go and spend 2-3 hours going through every single indie comic group that exists on Facebook, posting your campaign links and everything like that. You'll get some backers, but it's not going to be worth the 4 hours that you put into it, right? Whereas if you pay for it and actually pay attention to targeting for specific demographics, theoretically you should be able to get stuff.
Now, when you say paid ads, you're talking about Facebook ads, yeah?
Yes, because that's why, like as you said, it's become more of a virtual marketplace. So at that point, the only way for you to really compete in the virtual marketplace is if you put skin in the game.
Join, right?
Right. So if you're just promoting organically and Travis, I think you were talking about posting up stuff, and you've got like 5,000 friends or over 4,000 followers, and it maybe hits like 2-3% of that demographic of those people are maybe looking at your posts. And like that's ultimately, as he said, due to the algorithm is going to push something that's been paid over something that's organic regardless. And so in one way, yes, it does hurt your advertising, but if you pay for X amount and then you target it specifically for the key demographics that your book is tailored to, you could make that money back and generate some profit. It just all depends on how well optimized you are doing that. But like at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of us that are indie creators are like, especially if you're in my position where, I'm not I can draw, but I'm not a pro, right? Like I'm not gonna go and draw the sequentials on my own book. I'm not at that level. So I have to hire talent and everything. I don't have the extra income to invest in that. So it's going to be like most of my income goes towards production of art, print, everything like that. Before like, and at that point, I'm not going to really have much excess left over to invest in what would be a worthwhile marketing campaign on Facebook. Because ultimately, like if you put 10, $15 in that, that's not going to do anything for you. You're talking about like hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of marketing into Facebook to generate the kind of ads where like you'll be scrolling down and you're seeing like a Kickstarter for like a video game project that looks awesome, or for this or that. Like those that takes some serious heavy weight behind it for you to really get to that point.
Well, and that's kind of where I was going with this question, is that when we talk about some of these, the corporate interests, which have sort of invaded Facebook, let's be honest, even if you're watching reels now, you might get 15 seconds into one before the ads start. So I guess I would say to Chance, two things. First, do you use the Facebook ads? And if you did, what was your experience with it?
So I'm a little newer to the meta ads than everybody else, I'm sure, but I think I experienced kind of what he said, is you got to put a lot of skin in the game to actually start getting some ROI. I can throw about $500 at it and get 12 cents per click or something. I can target really well, but the ROI is still kind of low until you start throwing a lot of money at it. That's been my experience anyway.
Yeah, I think you're right. Travis, how about you? I think that I've had mixed results with the Facebook ads. What do you have to say about this?
So Facebook ads, it's a strategy, as someone who's done it for a living, it's a strategy, and it takes a lot of money to get to basically the way it works really, really well. But it sounds like it's tricking you. Like when you get to a social media advertiser, because I basically tell you got to spend a whole bunch of money so I can weed out what's bad, and then Facebook will be able to get it for you every time. So Kickstarter can do a great ROI, return on investment, but it takes a lot of money to filter out all the bad, to find out who are buyers in your group. It's a really neat and weird thing that Facebook does. But what's also interesting about Facebook is Facebook's algorithms are changing all the time, which makes it super interesting. Unlike the other platforms, you could have, I think anybody who's run a Kickstarter or many Kickstarters, you've had Kickstarter where you're like, wow, I'm really getting likes and tweets and like reshares, and like people are backing because the algorithms are with you that week and they're okay with links that week. Normally, you'll find that lines up when Congress tells them, hey, we need to watch what you're doing. Normally, that's loosening the reins a little bit. Not that I'm a conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying what happens.
Yeah.
So those things happen. But, there is ways, and I think Chris has a similar thing that he does at Instagram. I'm not as good at Instagram. But, if you create groups and that group is yours, you can use that everyone tag and tag everyone. So there's ways to make sure everybody sees your stuff. Not that that's not even 100%, but so there's ways to make it very targeted. But again, that's you targeting not necessarily new fans, but probably targeting creators to back your stuff, which is part of the industry and part of the thing. And creators backing your stuff is great. So it's not a bad thing. But really, if you can get legitimate people who just love your stuff and they don't like Tim Fling, I mean, I think those are the target market. Specifically, only you.
Good answer. So, Chris, I want to tie this into Instagram a little bit, because same as Travis, I can't get any heat over on Instagram. I assume it's probably because I'm not as sexy as you, Chris. But I guess my secret that I want to ask you is two things. What is the technique that helps to improve on Instagram that is different from Facebook, obviously? And do you do any kind of ads on Instagram?
Well, for one, I think everybody has a platform they're good at, and you stick with that, and then you kind of sprinkle in the other ones. I just happened to have started on Instagram, so my following was there, my platform was there. I built that up first, so that's the one I ran with. If I had been on Facebook first, I probably would have. It was interesting because I had a lot more friends and family on Facebook, but Instagram just was where I sat. I don't do a lot of paid ads. I'll run a couple in the very beginning of my campaign. I'll do 30 to 50 bucks, and that's only to boost my initial few posts. But what that does is it does warm up the algorithm. And if you guys work social media management, at 9 o'clock in the morning, you got to get up, you got to warm up the algorithm. You've got to like things, you got to comment on things, you got to get in people's DMs that you never speak to and just say, hey, this looks cool. You've got to get the algorithm to recognize you before you even post. And then when you post, you're going to show up more because you are using the platform. Like Travis said, with the algorithm changing all the time, you've got to
priming the pump, so to speak.
Right. You've got to stay in the kind of like the know of what's popular and what's not. And, let's like being a comic book creator is a full-time job on its own. Now you're taking on social media manager at the same time. It's a lot. So you have to that's why I say you find one that you can understand, you can do well at, and then just sprinkle in the rest.
Yeah.
Because if you have like your groups, I'm in a few of Travis's groups. They're very active, that they're good spaces. So you've built up those. I can't just tomorrow decide, hey, I want to build up groups with 5,000 people, because that's going to take away time from the platform I'm good at, which is Instagram.
Right.
So, that's where, again, switching platforms doesn't make sense to any of us, because I put all that time into building my stuff on Instagram. To move over to Kara, I don't know their algorithm yet. I don't know how that stuff works. Not all the people are on there. It's going to take more time. So,
which again, time being the most valuable commodity of all. Because,
yeah,
we're all comic creators, but the truth is we're all publishers too, right? And editors and social media managers and all the things that go onto it. People say all the time, hey, well, all you got to do is learn this. And I say, man, it's just one more thing. Put it on the pile,
Yeah. And that's the thing. One more thing.
One more thing.
So one of the things, Tim, can I say something that I forgot? One of the things too that makes it extra hard on Kickstarter, if you're not aware, if you have people who mute you, because you could mute someone for a length of time. Well, our friends and family may mute us because he's selling his Kickstarter. He's always talking about Kickstarter. They may mute you. So Facebook also kind of mute you as well. It's like this reverse thing. So, and it's actually done on purpose. So Facebook's like, oh, we want you to spend that ad, so we can kind of unmute you to the people who does it. It's a neat little trick they came up with.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm guilty of that too. I like to have joy in my life. So, Travis knows me pretty well. I never say anything controversial. I don't get in any, it's just not me, man. So anytime you see the drama going, I mute those people. Nothing against them. I don't want to see it in my feed. I want to see more electric guitars, and I want to, you know what I mean? I just want things.
I don't think you're alone with that at this point. I think most people are just kind of fed up with all the drama and negativity and stuff. So that's what I do.
Yeah. And actually we talked about this on one of the shows. It's also bad for the brand. That's one man's opinion. You can create drama, but it's a short-term bump. Yeah. Now I want to talk about something a little controversial, and we'll see how this goes. I may regret asking this question, so please be the upstanding professionals that you are. I don't mind disclosing to you guys, I'm against AI, okay? But I also realize that, I've been wrong about things a bunch of times, and to ignore the fact that it's coming is probably incorrect on my part. So you see already on Facebook, you got things like, have you seen this little AI description of what the comments are, so you don't have to read the descriptions? If you want to, you can set your post when it has the comments underneath it. The AI will give you a quick summary of everybody's post.
Interesting.
Yeah. By the way, I don't love this, so please don't hear me that I like this feature. My question to you is this: my sense is that many creators are going to try to resist the advent of AI, and by the way, I'm one of them. But do you think that this will hurt us if we are trying to resist the AI generated comments? Or more specifically, will the users of Facebook start to, hey, these are all AI generated feed. Will they start to not use the platform? Michael, you go first.
That's a difficult question. So I definitely see where it could go, like pretty much either way. where like if you're having people like if from the artist standpoint, because let's be clear, like I think that pretty much every single person that works in the creative field looks at AI and it's just a eye roll thing of why are we doing this? Like Skynet exists. Like we've all seen how this turns out. And so it's like it's just one of those things where it's like it's very frustrating for us because it's seeming to kind of edge into what we're doing first. And so like I definitely could see, as you said, like, you know, a lot of creators trying to, you know, push against it, and then that kind of backfiring from the platform aspect of like, well, if you're not going to allow these things, then we're just gonna not really bump your stuff in the algorithm, and you're just gonna be dead in the water here. But then on the other side, nobody likes bots.
True.
Like if you see that the majority of the interaction on a post is bots, the first thing that comes to I think most people's mind is, oh, this is spam, right? Like, and so I do think that it could go really either way. I'm not clairvoyant, so I'm not going to be able to make any claims on which way I think that is most likely to go. I do think it could go either way, but like ultimately, I just that's above my pay grade. So
it's a smart answer. Hedge your bets. Chance, how about you? You see the AI coming into the social media platforms. If we resist them, is that going to hurt us?
Yeah, you pose a good question. I don't know. I think I agree with what he said. It's I'm in the same boat. I think we all kind of look at that and have our own pushes against that and our own reasons for why we don't agree with those things. But the writing's on the wall. It's coming, and sometimes if you resist, you're left in the dust. And I don't know if that's correct or not, but I'm in the side of resisting at the moment.
Yeah, I'm resisting it too. I appreciate that. And like I say, I've been wrong about stuff a bunch of times. And I mean, the AI thing's difficult, but it's likely not going to take over for probably several months anyway. Travis, what do you think is if we resist AI on our feeds, like actively against it, will that hurt us?
I don't necessarily know if it'll hurt you. I think as AI becomes more and more mainstream and people use it, you know, AI is such a complicated thing, right? So obviously I don't want my art AI.
Right.
I don't want that. I don't want my writing AI. But I also not get mad at anyone in this room, if you had to write, you're not very good with Russian, right? And you have a Russian character and you threw your verbiage through an AI filter to make it more Russian, and then you picked and choose what you like and wrote your own. I don't consider you less of a writer. And I also think about kids growing up who wanted to tell a story. So they wrote a paragraph and then they got a full story or a video. Like, that's cool and to play with. And as kids, maybe that'll make them more creative or less creative. I also think about like Tim Sale, for instance. You know, I'm not saying Tim Sale do it. He was in the middle of the third Halloween. We know this. He hadn't started production, but let's say he was. Let's say he was at 24 pages out of 28. Those last 4 pages, and he was dying. He knew he was dying. And he willingly chose to put his art into an AI to finish his book so his family would get full coverage. I don't have an issue with that. Right. You know, if that was his choice, you know, but again, does the internet have an issue with that, right? Even if that was, again, using Tim Sales, God bless you, I miss you. You know, if you use it, if people got mad, why didn't you hire blah, 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 who has similar art style? Or why didn't you ask such and such to copy your art style instead of doing that? You know, these things get really complicated. But I don't think doing like your comment thing or ignoring those things are going to hurt you. I don't think talking bad about AI is going to hurt you. And I think you need to call out AI that's hurtful, right? Because there is going to be, if we don't know, but already of people who never wrote or drew the comic, right? They wrote it through AI. They had an idea. They threw it through AI. They didn't know how to do a script. They submit that script through another filter to tell them to do the art, and that's it, you know. And then I don't know if you heard about Adobe today. Did you hear about
Yeah,
the
sure did.
Yeah,
man.
that's crazy.
Yeah, the service says anything you do, we can use. And basically what that's saying, even though they're not saying it, it says we can put it through our AI filter if we decide to go through an AI filter.
That's exactly what it means. Yeah.
So
Well,
I think
I appreciate that thoughtful answer. That's a great answer. Chris, what do you think? You know, is it fair to say you're against AI, first of all?
I'm against the use of AI in a like, I guess, harmful way, in an for instance, right? So you have to write a social media post and you have 2 seconds to do it. You can go into chat and type it in. You know, what a lot of people don't actually realize is a lot of AI is being integrated into everyday life for work. So I have to use Chat GPT for work right now. They paid for it. I have to put certain things through there because we have people in different states, and I don't know all the laws for the different states, but Chat GPT does. So if I have a legal statement that I have to write and I can throw it through there and they can just check it, I can use it. I think it, you know, it long term, if you use it as a tool, that's one thing. But like he said, if you use it to fraudulently create things and then put it through and use AI to create the art, you've never created the art, right? That's a completely different story. If you drew some sketches and you said, hey, this is my art style, can you draw this character in my art style? And it drew it in your art style. I mean, I'm never gonna like use it like that myself, but who am I to say, hey, you can't put your art into AI? You know, I think just like we fought the digital revolution, just like we fought streaming revolution. I mean, hell, you know, what, 30 years ago, I wouldn't even be an artist because I draw digitally. You know, my heart stopped 3 times before I was 7 years old. I'm lucky some days if my resting heart rate's not 110. So my hand shakes sometimes. You know, it's tough. So because of that, I use digital, because if I had to use pen and paper all the time, there'd be days where I'd be doing this and all of a sudden you just have a ragged line. You know, so I do think it's a tool that's coming that we're not going to get away from. As you can see with just social media, it's, you know, meta AI everywhere. Yeah. But I do think we need to hold each other accountable for how we use it.
It's an ethically complex situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, the reason I'm asking you guys, and thank you for your intelligent answers, the reason why I'm asking this is I clearly don't know the answer. You know, I've got a horse in the race, not only because of art, which I'm against, but because of writing, which we got Chat GPT already replacing everybody. And friendly reminder, music is mathematical. So you're very close to having AI bands come onto the scene. And
actually, there's a band, I can't think of the name of them. They actually wrote a song with AI. It was, and they said they fed it their entire backlog of music, and they said, write a song that we would write. I can't think. Avenged Sevenfold. Thank you very much.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, on their latest album, there's a completely AI written song, and it is trash, but they put it out there. Yeah, it is. It is trash. But they fed it all their work, and they said, hey, write a song that we would play, and they recorded it, and it was, I mean, it's hot garbage. So I don't know.
That is something that I'm against too. You know, Unleash the Archers. You know, I'm familiar with Avenged Sevenfold, but I don't know the AI song. I'm going to check it out now. But I did hear the one that they got a new Beatles song, or I guess it's 2 songs now, where they fed it the White Album. It's like, write a song that sounds like the White Album. And I mean, it sounds just like the White Album. And there's another one, which is, what if Freddie Mercury sang for Iron Maiden? And it's an Iron Maiden sounding band, but with Freddie Mercury out front. And I mean, it sounds just like him.
Interesting.
If we watch enough sci-fi movies, we know what's going to happen in the future.
We know exactly where this goes. So again, I appreciate these really intelligent answers. And I'm always trying to learn more, because the truth is I don't really know. But it sounds like there's not too much danger of anybody leaving Facebook. And I think the takeaway here is that the great migration is not really happening. Is that the takeaway here?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's what I would.
And I want to add one thing under the AI thing.
Go ahead.
I have a friend of mine who his job is to actually design like training materials, and he has to use like AI art programs. And he sometimes will just call me and say, "Hey, can you draw this for me real quick?" Because I asked AI to, and it gave me a guy with 4 arms and like 9 fingers. Right. So, we're very far off from AI replacing artists. I think it's a tool for people to use, which is fine.
Still,
but
at least several weeks away, right?
Yeah, several weeks, because it does learn.
Remember, we're talking. I'm not exaggerating. You're talking about a system that can think thousands of times per second.
What I will say is there's also a big handicap with it, because there's been so many people generating AI art that AI art generators are starting to filter in already AI generated pieces, which is causing some of the art programs to regress. So like we've got time. I do think that, Chris made a very good point where it's like, if you're using it as a tool in the tool belt, and you're not just like, and you're not being unethical with it, stealing other people's art or doing X, Y, or Z with it, or even as Travis said, I thought it was a great point of like, hey, I don't know X dialect of this country. How would like using an AI like ChatGPT to come up with some like colloquialisms to make the character sound more in tune with where they're from. Like, I think that those are excellent ways of showcasing. Yeah, you can absolutely use this responsibly as a tool, but like the moment that you start to kind of step over that, it becomes way more complicated, and it's just one of those things where it's like, as everyone has said, we've seen that movie a million times.
Yeah, and by the way, that's got enough juice in it. That's a great topic for another show. And thanks so much for sharing your intelligent answers about that subject. But in the meanwhile, I want to hear about the cool projects that you guys are making. Let's start out here with Michael. Can you tell us a little bit about the Embrace?
Yeah, so I came up with this comic back in 2021. This is actually a second chance campaign. Before I do this second book here in July, I wanted to bring the book over to Kickstarter, and life just got in the way. But yeah, I came up with this book in 2021. It's a kind of dark take on the superhero genre, where this father whose son has been murdered is really struggling, and his son's ghost comes back and saves him from taking his own life. And when they come together in an embrace, the dad gets a vision of what happened the night his son was killed. And when he comes to, he's in a super suit powered by his son's ghost. And so they're going out to bring his child's murderers to justice. It was a 40-page story. We got a lot of great positive feedback on the book. And very excited to get the second chapter out this summer. But I wanted to get a chance to go over to Kickstarter, so I put together some new, fresh variants specifically for Kickstarter, and we replaced some of the interiors, which were a art contest, fan art contest that we had for the first book, and we're replacing them with a preview for the second. To kind of show how much the art has grown, because our interior artist, Dean James, was his first book, and he has come a very long way since. But yeah, we've got a lot of really fun stuff on the campaign. The other big thing we're doing with this is one of our covers, which we have by Joel Gomez. We're raising money for the Virginia Victims Assistance Network, who run support groups for homicide survivors. So it was just a cool way to kind of have this character be more than just what they are on, like it, be able to help people that actually went through the tragedy that, David and Clarence, our two main characters, went through, and kind of have some real world effect. And so far we've raised around $100, which is awesome.
Nice. That's a good cause, man. So I certainly wish you every success with that one. That's a call to action, by the way. That's a live project right now. Go over there and back it. The Embrace. So, man, I sure wish you every success with that one. So now, Chance, I know that your campaign just finished actually, because I didn't get with you in time.
No,
but
you're
I
fine.
still want to give it a shout out, right? Can you tell us a little bit about the League of Collectors?
Yeah, so the League of Collectors is an upcoming webcomic. So I decided to do a couple prequel stories that kind of introduce you to the characters and the world. And it's about a bunch of sci-fi bounty hunters competing with each other over bounties. And there's this other entity that comes in and start to place bets on the bounty hunters and try to monopolize the gambling portion of betting on these bounty hunters. And so this first Kickstarter was about the first issue, was introducing the main character Show, who was a main character in the web series. And yeah, it went really well, actually. We
Nice,
funded,
man.
and did very good.
Yeah.
Oh, and I wanted to say, man, the Embrace looks awesome, and what a great cause. That's a really cool story.
Yeah, well done all the way around. So speaking of live campaigns, there's a new one which you've heard of before.
Dude, this looks so sick, Travis.
Yeah,
I just gotta say
that
the left cover, I'm getting in. I've got to make sure that finances are in order first, but I'm definitely hopping in on this one.
Remember our Kickstarter, so we charge you at the end, so you're good. But
Travis, tell us all about it, man. This looks terrific.
Yeah, so we're the first issue of Great Estate Punk. This is, my favorite series that I do. It's a very cool series. It's about a recovering alcoholic who is connected to a coven of witches, and he kind of breaks the fourth wall, kind of does some Deadpool stuff. We've got some social commentary because that's what punkers do. So it's not in like the normal social commentary way. And then we've got witch shit. We got witches and monsters and all sorts of cool stuff. In this particular issue, I think everybody's been through a relationship where you get into a new relationship, you're kind of like, things are going good, so you kind of self-sabotage, and you find out that you do this. There's a routine of everything that you do this often and often. I think everybody goes through this. I think every relationship you're in, you go through this cycle, and at the end of it, either you find someone who's going to make you better, and you embrace that, you go to that, or you find someone who makes you worse. They treat you worse, you go through a bad divorce, whatever, and then you change because of that. But either way, you're going to change, regardless of the exact result. This is Zeke in that situation. He found love in last issue, and now he's exploring ex-girlfriend's past, and one of them happens to be a Nazi. So he's dealing with that. So we've got some cool stuff. We've even got a really cool Captain America homage where Cap, we do the Cap punching.
Yeah, Nazi. I saw that. Hold on, I
saw that. It's a really good cover, man.
Punching out the Nazi.
Punching out the Nazis. You got to punch Nazis.
Yeah, these look
100%.
Great, man.
Yeah, I think that's universal. I think it's the only thing that the right and left can 100% agree on: punching Nazis.
Punching Nazis.
Equal bad.
Right.
Yeah, and when you hear the synopsis of it, surprisingly deep material, right, Travis?
I'm not sure about the surprising. I write deep material.
No, I meant in the sense of I didn't mean that in a disparaging way. Let me rephrase it. If you say Granite State Punk, it doesn't necessarily say love story with these different twists and things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think anybody who's like a real punk gets it. I know that sounds like a little weird. Like there's people who love punk from afar. They like the colors and the jackets and stuff like that. But the people who are in the punk scene or spend some time in the punk scene, it's a bunch of guys who want to solve all the world's problems, but they don't actually want to do anything. They want to talk about it, have some PBRs.
Well, I meant that in the sense that it sounds really intriguing, and that's definitely.
I appreciate that. I'm very
of course. And hey, let's circle back around. I was a fan of this one from before, and one of the things about the gaming industry, I think it's great that it's really sort of coming to life in the comics world. So from here, I'm going to let Chris tell the story. Chris, man, tell us about Crit Robo Renaissance.
So this is the 8th issue in this series, and I just finished the Kickstarter today, so the notify page just went up. It's launching June 26th. This, is a direct sequel to the last book. It's they're on the run chasing this mysterious villain they've uncovered called the Goblin King, and it's just chaos. If you know anything about Crit, it's just a bunch of fun stupid comedy, tongue-in-cheek humor with action sprinkled in. It's a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, so you get all the banter that you would normally at a gaming table, and none of it's really thought out and written. It's all done literally by the roll of the dice. So everything you read is taken from a recording of the game. I don't change anything. I don't modify anything. If they got their ass kicked, they're getting their ass kicked in the book, which happens quite a bit for a few of them. Boulder, the character Boulder, we have a ongoing joke that it's a Boulder roll if it's bad, and in the book he continually gets his butt handed to him. Each character is written by a player. I don't change any of their stuff. I actually get them to come back in and give me any dialogue changes that we need to do at the very end. So I record all the dialogue and I'll put it all in as said, and we'll clean it up. And they have to tell me how they would word things, how they would say things, so it all matches. And in this one, it's to me, it's like a Scooby-Doo meets Ninja Turtles, because they're in a sewer, they're fighting little goblin robots, trying to figure out what happened to one of their friends and who this new enemy is that's causing chaos in the city. And this one to me is a lot of fun, because I do remember every single time we've played in the last 5 years that we've been playing this same game, and the camaraderie really starts to, this is the second book of chapter 2. So for us, this was our 8th time playing the game together. And if you play D&D, you get to eight sessions, you're doing really well. And the team is really starting to work well together. They're starting to really bounce off each other. The dialogue is a lot stronger. Their role playing is a lot better. And so I'm really excited to put this one out there. I think everyone's going to really enjoy some of the chaos that happens. And I'm blessed to have some really good cover artists. Mo Lubison did a Liefeld homage there.
Yeah, I see.
Matt Weldon loved my idea for the Dark Crystal, because I sent him a whole bunch of 80s movie covers, and he gave me the one to the left of that. That's the deluxe cover right there. And then William Russell has the cover A. And then my colorist is actually Lewis Thomas, Draw, Erase, Repeat on Instagram. He's done a couple covers for us, and this is the first book I've got him to color for me. I colored the last book by myself, and we did the math. I put 3,000 hours into one book, and I said I can't put out 42 books if I spend 3,000 hours a book. So Lewis has been kind enough to join the team as the colorist. And yeah. So if you don't know anything about Crit, every book, I treat it like an X-Men, episode from when we were kids, previously on X-Men. So you get a previously on, so you kind of get caught up, and you can kind of jump in anywhere and not feel jarred about it. I've tested it with people, my friends who have come in. I'm like, hey, here's the latest issue. Tell me if it's confusing. And, I always give a breakdown of what the characters are in the beginning of the book, so you don't feel lost and you know who people are. And at the end of the day, it's really cool because there's a cat that smokes and drinks and passes out and hits on women. So
sounds like good stuff, man. Good stuff. So that's a pre-launch right now.
So this is in the campaign. I've had these for the last couple of years. This is the drinking, smoking, misogynistic cat. And then I've got an action figure for this one. So Bones actually has a full action figure for this.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Hold on. Let me give you a solo. There you go. Hold on one more time.
Oh.
There you go. Oh, nice. And what is that, 3D printer? How'd you do that?
Yeah, 3D printer. I found a guy on Facebook who liked some of my stuff and said, hey, I can do, action figures. And I've seen them before and they just don't look good. So I had him do a sample, and he's fully posable. The shield even pops off and pops back on. So
holy cow, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was great. Well, hey,
the little kid inside of me just got excited and was like, yeah, I want my own action figure. Let's do this.
Well, I'm going to wish you guys every success with these campaigns, and viewers, you can back with confidence for these projects. These are seasoned creators, so you're guaranteed to get the books. We are almost to our time, so let's take 60 seconds each and just tell us where we can find you. Michael, we'll start with you. Where can we find you, buddy?
You can find me on Facebook at 9 Realms Publishing, and then on Instagram at at 9RP Comics. I'm also on Twitter at ElysianFields_0, though I try not to go on there much anymore.
Gotcha. Chance, how about you? It's nice to meet you finally. Tell the viewers where we can find you.
I'm at edgecomicspublishing.com, and for Facebook and Instagram, I'm at Edge of Your Seats.
Nice. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Travis, where can we find you? It's so hard to find you online.
I mean, it's got to be Facebook because I got to increase that $30 increase.
I need that $20.
Oh man.
Only Facebook all the time. Travis Gibb.substack is the best place to find me. It's where I share all the stories and do all this cool stuff. And I just posted about this today. Have you seen this, Tim?
I have.
Here,
hold on. Let me do the same for you. Let me give you a solo layout. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
This is the best slab ever made. It is clearly, as you can tell, the comic is clearly in mint condition. So it's
so pumped. That's really cool, man.
You can trust that this is good and legit. Please ignore the "do not encapsulate" sticker from CGC.
Best part. That's the best part.
Coming back at one of a kind.
Nicely done, Travis. Hey, always a pleasure to see you, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
See you, man.
Chris, how about you, buddy? Where can we find you?
The best place is Instagram at Homebrewed Comics, just like on there. I've got a link that you can get to all my other stuff, my Facebook, my website, the Kickstarter, every social media platform. I just put it all on one spot. My website's under construction with the Kickstarter coming up. So, but you can actually, if you want to check it out, issue 0 is a free download at homebrewedcomics.com. You can download it for absolutely free and see if you like the story. Again, that was it's called Character Sheets. It's the first game session we had. It's a bunch of stupid guys that got around a table and played D&D and turned it into a game. So check that out. And my Kickstarter does launch June 26th. So
we'll keep an eye out for that.
Good luck, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show, Chris.
And Chris, I did get a message from someone that you wanted to be on my show. You can if I have a show. That's the problem with me.
He does. And by the way, in case you guys didn't know this, I stole my concept from Travis. We talk about this a lot.
I decide on a Thursday whether or not I'll run a show. Most of the time, however, when I'm live, you could expect a show. So if you find me live, like right now, I'm live with three campaigns, or no, 4. There's 4 campaigns right now with my writing on it. But just message me and go, hey, you're doing one on Thursday, and normally I can get you. Same thing with everybody here, Mike. And
appreciate that. Yeah,
Jeff. It's a good show. It's a good show. And the nice thing about Travis's show, you're basically guaranteed to get backers. He knows.
Yeah, I will get you a backer. So.
Thank you.
And $20.
$20.
I get the $20.
Facebook seems to pay out better than Instagram. I was getting like $5 a reel at one point in time, and then that stopped. I guess they lost their money or something. But Facebook still pays their people, and they're the same platform. So you'd think they, but
the same money.
Yeah.
I mean, $20 a month is not a lot of money, Chris. Just in case.
That's like half a tank of gas for me. So
yeah, that's enough.
I play Marvel mobile games, so it pays for my Strike Pass. Marvel Strike Pass, it pays for my
Fair enough, man.
And it pays for my Marvel Snap. Pass.
I'm so addicted to Marvel Snap right now. It's unreal.
Hey, well, in closing, I just want to say thanks to you guys for coming on the show. I felt you really had some great answers, and this is one of the ways that I try to learn how to do things. So thank you for sharing your time and your knowledge with this panel.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it a lot. Yeah, to the viewers at home, that wraps this one up. We'll see you guys next week at 10 p.m. Eastern. This has been an episode of The Creative Cranium. Thanks for tuning in.